What does that mean? He says this is what is holy and acceptable. This is your worship, that you give yourself to God explicitly with no conditions, no reservations, no qualifications, and you say, oh God, consume me. That's what sacrifices are for. To be extinguished by the flame of God. It is that person who will be able to discern the will of God. Look at it. Just turn to it real quickly. Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I know this is a very familiar passage with us, but my question to us today is, do we really live by it? I know you know it. I know you know what it says. But I'm asking you, are you doing this? I beseech you, therefore, brethren, Romans 12:1, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies in your entire being, in other words, a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. It comes from a word that means worship. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. In other words, unless you have put yourself on the altar and willing to God to do whatever He wants with you, you will not be able to prove the will of God, to know it. James, in his first chapter, the 21st verse, says exactly the same thing. Before God can give you His will and you to know it, there has to be a putting off, a plucking up, a destroying, a removing. He says in James 1:21, therefore lay aside all filthiness and overflow of wickedness,